He's got higher shields. What's up, guys? Chris here. I'm going to be doing a beginner's class guide to Crown Prince, this little cat fellow you see here. Crown Prince is a pretty balanced character comparatively. He's got higher shields with a lower shield recharge time in comparison to the dog, who has higher health and a slower shield recharge time and just lower shield in general. And the bird, who just has the same amount of health, higher armor, but armor is a completely different mechanic than shields, so they don't actually recharge. So he has two base abilities. We've got Energy Orb here, which you just shoot a magical orb that explodes. It has a relatively long cooldown, but it deals a lot of damage and it freezes enemies, which is great if you're new, because having enemies stand still instead of constantly moving is going to help a lot when you're learning to aim and just work around the game in general. His other main ability is Smoke Grenade, which you just throw a corrosive grenade and it leaves an AoE on the ground that deals damage every second and upon landing. It's really good for big areas because corrosion slows down enemies as well. If you apply corrosion, it slows down by 40%, so the enemies are moving slower and they're caught in this AoE, and it just opens up for a lot of opportunities. Say you could just lock them in it with Energy Orb as well. These are ascensions, that's not what you want. So once you play more, you'll unlock this talent tree. Mine is already pretty far in, but each character, the dog, the bird, and Crown Prince has 5 hero talents. Crown Prince has minus Energy Orb cooldown, max shield, smoke grenade radius, recover 5% shields for each hour bit, and faster shield regen the lower your shields is. So this just works really well with him. Lower orb cooldown, of course, is really good. More shield is really good when your primary health is shield. Smoke grenade radius, this one's not universally good, but it is really good for smoke grenade builds, of course. This one is universally good because Energy Orb, you're always going to have it, and you don't need it to deal damage if it's just going to give you health back for free. And then this one's really good because your primary health source, once again, is shield, so you want those shields up all the time. Okay. And now, let's cover Ascensions. So, Ascensions are essentially just base upgrades. You can only get them in the run. They go away after the run. So, like any roguelite, nothing's permanent. There's Element, Smoke, and Orb, which this one is just elemental damage. This one's Smoke Grenade, and Orb is just Energy Orb, of course. These will define your builds in games. They're not, once again, you don't get to choose these per se. You get 3 random ones at the end of every level. So you kind of have to go with the flow and pick. But I'm going to go over the ones you should focus on if you have an idea in mind, or if you get something, you know what else to go for. So starting with Element, I'm going to start from the bottom, because it just makes more sense. You have Electro Dominance, Acid Dominance, and Pyro Dominance. These are just damage increases for each elemental effect. This Electro Dominance, of course, is lightning damage. Acid Dominance is corrosion damage. And Pyro Dominance is fire damage. They're just good for specific weapons. Say if you have, like, I don't know, you have a really good Justice that you keep upgrading and you want Pyro Dominance, it's just going to deal 120 more damage, or 120% more damage for free, with no, like, drawbacks to it. So maybe go for these. These aren't too important, but there is this one, Elemental Rage, which just makes you deal more damage against enemies under elemental effects. So you don't even need an elemental weapon for this one to work, because your smoke grenades apply corrosion pretty often. I don't know the percent chance on it, but I think it's almost like 50-70%, something like that. So you're just going to be on it. If you have this to level 3, you just deal 120% more damage with all of your weapons to enemies under elemental effects. And these can stack. So say you have a fire weapon and you apply an elemental effect, and you have both these at level 3, which probably won't happen, you'll deal 240% more damage, which is insane. That's really good damage. And then we have Wildfire, which after killing an enemy under an elemental effect gives you fire rate, which is I think this is the only fire rate increase in talent in the game, I believe. At least for Crown Prince it is. So this just makes you deal more damage. You don't even need to really have elemental effects once again, because your corrosion from your grenades can handle this one. So if you just like shooting, these two are probably your best option. This one, I'd say belongs in the orb section, but it's in the elemental section because it has no elemental effect. It makes your energy orb have the same elemental effect as your current weapon, and it always procs that elemental effect. So this one's good in orb builds. It's less good in just normal builds because you're not going to get use out of this. This just makes your orb deal more damage, which I guess is really good for Wildfire and Elemental Rage. But I'd say this is an orb talent and not an elemental talent. Okay, next up we've got Smoke. I'm going to start with the best two that you can get, or the best one you can get, which is Hex Smoke. And its enemies affected by your grenades take more damage and deal less damage, and it's a pretty significant amount of less damage that they deal, up to 70%. Like for 20 seconds, that's insane. That's just like this talent's nuts. You should grab this if you want to go smoke grenade builds. The next ones I would focus on, maybe just get a one off of this because it's just good. It's only one tier, as you can see down here. It's only got one divot, just like Elemental Orb over here. But it's just, if you hit an enemy with your grenade, they explode when they die. It's generally good. And then we have Toxic Smoke and Smoke Genius, which I would say work together really, really well. This one just makes your smoke grenades deal more damage, but the level 3 talent is gain an additional 100% damage after each explosion, which just means like when your grenades are on the ground, they tick every second, and they'll deal more and more and more damage. And if you combine it with Smoke Genius, even one tier of it, it lasts longer and the damage happens more often, which means you'll get more damage out, and it'll stack up that damage. So say grenades deal 500% more damage. If you have plus, I think they last 4 seconds, it'll deal 900% damage. And then if you get this more, it'll deal like 1200%, and it'll deal it a lot. It'll deal a lot of that damage because the interval's minus 50. So these two together just work really, really well. Next up, Elemental Shield. When you use your smoke grenade, you get plus 60 max shield. I believe you only use this once, and it gives you the plus 90, and I don't think it regens, or the plus 30, plus 60, plus 90, and I don't think it regens if you use another one, but it might. Don't quote me on that one. The level 3 upgrade's alright. Immune to elemental effects for 20 seconds. That's not too great. I guess it is against later enemies, or even like Oxy Desert enemies, because they just deal a lot of corrosion damage, stuff like that. And here's the last grenade talent, Backpack Expansion. It's nothing special. The level 3 is really good for it, and if you get the double firepower, I believe it's called. I'm not sure what it's called, but it doubles your secondary ability capacity, and your grenades are your second ability. You'll get, say this is level 3 and you have that, you'll get 24 bonus grenades, and every 2 grenades you throw, you get 1 back. So you're going to have a lot of grenades. Pretty much 36 grenades, plus your base grenades, which you can have up to 8, so that's 16 plus 24, and then plus 16 plus 24 divided by 2. There's a lot of math. You get a lot of grenades, and you're never going to run out of grenades if you have those talents. So that's like, Hex Smoke is what you want first. These two work really well together, Smoke Genius and Toxic Smoke. Acidic Explosion, really good. This one alright. This one alright. So that's what you want to do if you want to focus on a smoke grenade build. And now, here's my favorite build in Crown Prince, Energy Orb. Okay. First, the important thing. Energy Blade. It's the best Energy Orb talent by far. And it's just because you can get a gun like Tiger Cannon or anything like a sniper rifle. And if you use your orb, it just deals more damage for free. And it deals it in an AoE. You can just clear groups of enemies. No problem. This thing is incredible. Always pick this if you want to go Energy Orb build. It's too good. Too good. Next up, I'm going to do another combination one. We have enhancement last, which is a terrible name for a thing, but that's just a translation error. And blinding sphere. Enhancement last just increases the duration of your orb, and it also gives cooldown if you have a level 3. This one's just good for new players as well, which is what the focus of this is. Because if you can lock down an enemy for longer, that just means they're going to stand still and you can shoot them in the head easier for those easy crits. And then Blinding Sphere, it just increases the AoE of it, and the level 3 talent gives bonus damage, isn't the primary effect, but having, say you have both of these level 3, they're stuck for 8 seconds, and it's a big radius. It's like an 8-meter radius, or 10-meter radius, or whatever the base +6 is. You're just going to lock down a bunch of enemies, and they're going to be frozen for a long time. You can use these on bosses, but they'll only be frozen for like a whole second, even if this thing's level 3. So it's not as good against bosses as a smoke grenade build is, I'd say. I guess next up we'll just look at more charges. This one's alright. It's not universally useful. Because say, you're probably going to be using Energy Orb most of the time, and if you're sitting around letting it recharge, that's just the way you're going to play, I guess. But yeah, I guess this thing level 3, if you let them all recharge, you'll have 6 charges of it. That's pretty good. You're just gonna machine gun out, especially if you have Energy Blade. That's 6 bonus damage shots. I guess next up we've got Energy Bolt. It just makes it deal more damage, and it has a chance to deal damage again. This one's really good. It deals so much damage once you upgrade it. I think it deals like 600 damage base, and if you increase its damage by 200%, you're dealing 1800 damage like instantly with it, which is quite a bit. But it really pales in comparison to a good weapon with Energy Blade. So this one, while it is good, this one's just better. Level 3, I suppose 600% damage, and then if you get it to explode up to 4 times, you're gonna one-shot pretty much any enemy. Maybe not an elite, but something. It's gonna deal a lot of damage. And then this one is your defensive talent, just like Elemental Shield in Smoke Grenade build. This is your defensive talent. After you cast your Energy Orb, your shield recharge speed is increased, it's just generally good. And the level 3, it can't be interrupted once started. So if you have all your upgrades for your shield recharge and you have no shields, your shields are going to start to regen really, really quick. Alright, well that's our Ascensions, which are your upgrades. Remember, you're not going to get all these in one run. You kind of want to go with the flow and just choose what you want to play with. I'm going to cover some base weapons for new players that I would recommend getting just to go along with Crown Prince. And the first one I want to start off with, Star Devourer. It just has really good elemental effect chance, a good magazine, high rate of fire, pretty low damage, but it shoots a lot. And you don't have to reload it. You just stop shooting for a little bit and it reloads itself. I think this is just a really solid gun for new players, as it just goes brrr, you shoot a lot, and you can use it in combination with your grenades. So you throw a grenade, this gun will regen when you're not shooting after throwing that grenade, or you shoot out your Energy Orb and you're not shooting the gun, it'll regen. Just a solid gun for things like this. The next one I'd want to go for, not the Illusion, but the Tiger Cannon. If you have Energy Blade, which is the one that deals bonus damage and AoE damage, combined with a gun that deals explosive damage, you're going to deal a lot of damage. 680 damage on a level 1 Energy Blade, which is 300%. That's quite a bit of damage. I'm not going to calculate that. And you deal at AoE, and it already has an explosive range. You're just going to clear rooms with this thing. It's insane. The Frenzied Shark, well, I wouldn't recommend this gun in general. It is really good for new players. Super easy to use. The grenades just explode when they hit stuff, and it's also really good with Energy Blade. If you use Energy Blade and hit something, it's going to explode. You'll just deal a lot of damage. Bonus. Just kill everything. Another starting weapon I would recommend is Scorching Round. This thing also really easy to use. Low magazine size. Okay damage. This thing's alright with Energy Blade. It's not incredible like the Tiger Cannon or Frenzied Shark, but it does have a really good elemental effect chance and works super well with your smoke grenades, as they deal corrosive damage. This thing does fire, you could guess, by the glowing barrel. All right, and that concludes my beginner guide to Crown Prince. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.